Welcome into NFL Daily. We are about to get into some rumors, several of which are around the NFL draft. And speaking of that, we will be live for all 7 rounds of this year's draft, breaking down each and every single pick with actual analysis on day 3, unlike some of the other people out there. So if you want to join us and join the most watched NFL draft coverage on YouTube, hit that big red button and subscribe today. Let's kick things off with the assumed number 1 overall pick. That is Trevor Lawrence, who everyone and their brother knows he's going to go to Jacksonville with that number 1 pick. Although he did have some recent comments in an interview with Sports Illustrated, which is leading to at least some criticism of the assumed top pick in this year's draft. People beginning to question his passion and drive and love for the game and all of that after his quotes came out, which Lawrence said were being misread. Here's what Lawrence said to Sports Illustrated. "It's not like I need football for my life to be okay. I want to do it because I want to be the best I can be. I want to maximize my potential. Who wouldn't want to? You kind of waste it if you don't." He also said this, "It's hard to explain that because I want people to know that I'm passionate about what I do and it's really important to me, but I don't have this huge chip on my shoulder that everyone's out to get me and I'm trying to prove everybody wrong. I just don't have that. I cannot manufacture it. I don't want to." Now, those comments were not the most well-received out there on social media, so Lawrence took to Twitter yesterday to clarify. Quote, "It seems as people are misreading my sentiment. I am internally motivated. I love football as much or more than anyone. It is a huge priority in my life, obviously. I am driven to be the best I can be and to maximize my potential and to win. I have a lot of confidence in my work ethic. I love to grind and to chase my goals. You can ask anyone who has been in my life. That being said, I am secure in who I am and what I believe. I don't need football to make me feel worthy as a person. I purely love the game and everything that comes with it. The work, the team, the ups and the downs. I am a firm believer in the fact there is a major plan for my life, and I'm called to be the best I can be at whatever I'm doing. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk, LOL." In general, NFL teams and some fans desperately want their players to only be focused on football. And I don't believe that Trevor Lawrence has the same Kobe Bryant, Tom Brady type of all-or-nothing mentality. I think that's okay. That's a unusual mindset to have. Not everyone is going to have it. And for the record, I fully believe Trevor Lawrence does not have a chip on his shoulder, because how could he? He has been proclaimed as the future number 1 overall pick for years. He was highly touted in high school. Every path he's taken, it's been, everyone knows you're great and you're going to be great. So I am not concerned about Trevor Lawrence's comments. Having watched the interview with Sports Illustrated too, the context made it seem like what I was saying. Maybe he's not the same Tom Brady type of mentality, but it's not like he's just along for the ride with football either. He cares about it as well. So what do you guys think will end up being the case with Trevor Lawrence? I'm making things tough on you, only giving you these 2 options. What will Trevor Lawrence be? Will he be a bust or will he be a star? Type in B for bust or type S for star. Let's chat Baltimore Ravens now, and the Orlando Brown trade rumor saga continues. Now, the report from Sports Illustrated is that the Browns agents are still pursuing a trade from the Ravens. Now, as I'm sure you guys know, Orlando Brown wants to play left tackle like his dad did, and maybe wants to get paid like a left tackle as well, which we'll get to here in a little bit. Now, this report said there were up to 6 teams interested in the services for Orlando Brown, one of which the Jacksonville Jags, apparently out of the running after franchise tagging left tackle Cam Robinson. The 5 teams mentioned by Sports Illustrated, and we'll take our time here. The Chicago Bears, who have a hole at right tackle, but if they were to send the 20th overall pick, a first rounder, which I think makes some sense, they could then shift off the left tackle, Charles Leno over to the right side. I forgot his name there for a hot second. Minnesota needs a left tackle. They're drafting pretty early, though. I love the idea of the Colts going after Orlando Brown. Of the 5 teams here, that one is my favorite. The Chiefs could use left tackle, Money is a little bit tight. A late first-round pick, the Ravens might actually want a little bit more as well. And then the LA Chargers as well. They are on there. Drafting pretty early, just like Minnesota. Minnesota, LA need a left tackle, but I wonder if it's actually just a little bit too early for those teams to give up their first-round pick, because I think that is what the Ravens want. A starting caliber tackle, yes, he has to get paid. That carries value. They will not give him away for nothing. So where do you think Orlando Brown is going to play next season? Is it with the Ravens? Is it with somebody else? Scroll on down to the comment section and make your predictions. Let me know where you think Orlando Brown is going to play in the 2020 season. Get your votes in right now. Now, I did mention part of the money side of it, and I'm not saying Orlando Brown only wants to get paid. I'm not saying that. But if he plays like he did so far in his NFL career, he is going to get paid significant amounts of money. The Ravens are already paying Ronnie Stanley almost $20 million per year. Orlando Brown could approach something similar with whatever team he ends up signing a long-term contract with. Because Orlando Brown, even though I was wrong and not that high on him coming out of Oklahoma, has been great. Third-round pick, he fell in the NFL draft because his combine was bad. He tested very, very poorly. Started 10 games as a first-year player 2018. Last year was a 16-game starter in 2019 and 2020. Made the Pro Bowl. This past year, filled in for Ronnie Stanley at left tackle and fared very, very well. Folks, the Chat Sports is now on the News Break app. Download it using our link today, chatsports.com/newsbreak. There's a ton of great updates on local news and weather, national news, politics. Traditional news media is not really there anymore. It's very much a dying breed. Who actually gets the paper these days? Not that many people. Instead, I can get notes and updates sent right to my phone. So download the Newsbreak app today at chatsports.com/newsbreak. I will make sure that link, by the way, is put in the comment section and in the description. So go download it, stay in the know with what's going on around your community, and you can even get Chat Sports videos sent right to your phone. Download it today, chatsports.com/newsbreak. To the New York Giants, who apparently, and I would argue almost, not strange, but interestingly is the word I'll use there, appear to have some heavy interest in bringing in Jason McCourty, the former Patriots cornerback. He's now a free agent. This one intrigues me. Now, he does bring veteran presence to a younger group of players. He visited the team this past weekend, and it kind of seems like the Patriots might not bring him back. They're pretty good in terms of depth at the cornerback spot. And McCourty, of course, has ties to this organization. He, of course, played kind of under Joe Judge, who was the special teams coach before he got the head job with the New York Football Giants. The interest in McCourty makes sense purely from hey, he's a good football player, he's a veteran, he could come in and help mentor some of the young guys. This past year for New England, okay. Not great by any stretch of the imagination. J.C. Jackson ended up getting all of the interceptions this past year for New England, but he's played some corners, played some safety, so there is some position flex there. What is most intriguing to me as it relates to McCourty and the New York Giants is where he actually slots in on this roster. Now, the Giants like to use multiple safeties, and you could maybe see McCourty get some run there. Jabril Peppers, Logan Ryan, Xavier McKinney, they all play a pretty good amount there. Julian Love is kind of a safety nickel hybrid, much like Ryan is there. But the Giants also brought in Adoree Jackson in free agency this year, paid him a pretty good amount of money. They have Darnay Holmes, who I think can be a good nickel for them. Sam Beal at this point is, I don't know if he's ever going to be anything, unfortunately, after being a third-round comp pick out of Western Michigan. So I'm intrigued by the interest in McCourty. Maybe it's you make Jackson a nickel corner, let McCourty get some run there. If you bring in McCourty, what I would consider already a very good secondary gets even better for the New York Giants. So what do you guys think? Do you think he will end up signing with the Giants? Get your votes in for me right now in the comment section. Type in Y for yes, you think he will, or type N for no, that he won't. He will not. Let's talk Cleveland Browns now. After the surprise cut of defensive tackle Sheldon Richardson, surely that means they're going to draft a cornerback early in this, or defensive tackle, in this year's draft. Maybe. They could have afforded both Richardson and Clowney. I am at least somewhat unconvinced that is their plan. I am starting to wonder, even after adding Andrew Billings and adding Malik Jackson in the past 2 years, if this organization really wants to value full-time defensive tackles significantly. In fact, I wonder if, because you've got Billings and Jackson and Elliott who can handle the defensive tackle role on base downs, first down, some second down as well, I wonder if on third downs, the Browns could let Myles Garrett obviously be one starter on edge rusher, and then maybe kick Clowney inside. I think that is at least a possibility for this team. And I wonder if the Browns will take another edge rusher, someone who could maybe be an outside guy, but maybe kick inside some as well, or if the release of Richardson, as many have speculated, actually is a sign that this team plans on drafting a defensive tackle early in this year's draft. So what do you guys think? After the, I would argue, surprise release of Sheldon Richardson, are the Browns going to draft a defensive tackle in round 1? Get your votes in for me in the comment section. Type 1 for yes, they will, or type 2 for no, they won't. To the Pittsburgh Steelers now. The Pittsburgh Post-Gazette reports that the Steelers will likely draft a running back in the first round and no later than in round 2, which is a little dicey to lock yourself into a particular position here in the NFL draft. Now, the report is the Steelers are looking for a more dynamic feature back. They want somebody who brings them more pop and big plays than what they had in recent years with James Conner now leading for the Pittsburgh Steelers, or for the Cardinals, and other players on their roster. The reality is the Steelers' ground game last year was bad. They have players on the roster right now from a bodies perspective. Benny Snell, Jalen Samuels, Anthony McFarland, Kalen Ballage, Trey Edmonds are all on the roster right now. But none of those guys, from what I've seen in their times in the NFL, are legitimate, boom, big plays, home runs, reliable number 1 backs. And there's one name in particular that keeps getting linked to Pittsburgh. That is Najee Harris, the Alabama back. Now, we don't know if he's going to be there at pick number 24 overall in the NFL draft. I do think he makes sense, though, for this team. He's been heavily linked, and I believe he fits what they want to do on offense. The real question is he going to be there in round 1? There are some teams ahead of the Steelers who could take him after Harris put out a massive breakout year in 2020. The big plays and the receiving value all went up significantly. The Jets at 23. The Dolphins at 18 stand out as very real fits and potential destinations for Najee Harris in the NFL draft. So let's say hypothetically, though, that Najee Harris is there. He is on the board for Pittsburgh at number 24 overall. What would you guys do? Type D for you want to draft him, or type in P for you would rather pass and not take him. Get your votes in for me in the comments section. Tyler Eifert next up here as it relates to the Arizona Cardinals. This actually comes to us from Fansided. I liked it enough that I wanted to discuss it. Now, they suggested the Cardinals go pursue Tyler Eifert. Now, remember, for those of you who don't recall this, he was cut by Jacksonville at the start of the offseason. Now, tight end is still a need for the Arizona Cardinals. In fact, I would argue it is one of their most important needs just based on the talent. I will make note, Arizona doesn't use a tight end all that often. The last time we saw Tyler Eifert, he actually was pretty healthy. 36 catches, just under 350 yards. The production has declined. Unfortunately, you're not going to get the old prime Bengals Tyler Eifert, who was one of the best tight ends in the NFL and was an absolute massive fantasy monster. As things currently sit for the Arizona Cardinals, they are thin at the tight end position. There's Darrell Daniels, there is Max Williams, and Ian Bunting is also on that team. It's not particularly good. And they also lost their leading tight end. Dan Arnold went to the Carolina Panthers. So Arizona is thin at tight end. So if I were the Cardinals, I would be strongly considering adding a tight end of some capacity in this year's NFL draft. I think that makes a lot of sense for them because this grouping with no Dan Arnold does not fill the need remotely enough for Arizona. Now, what do you guys think is the biggest Cardinals need? Is it tight end? Is it cornerback? Is it running back? Is it somewhere else altogether? Get your votes in for me in the comment section, because this right here is my top 5 needs list. Just mine, nobody else's. Tight end is number 1. Cornerback is number 2. Running back is number 3. Linebacker is number 4. And then edge rusher. Now, the Cardinals have added some players at corner and in the backfield, but I still think those 3 are the most significant needs for the Arizona Cardinals. But you guys get your votes in for me in the comments section. Now, if they do want to go add a tight end early, you're probably not going to be able to get Kyle Pitts, unfortunately. Pat Freiermuth, he is number 2. He could be there in round 2. Brevin Jordan is number 3 out of Miami of Florida. I'm intrigued by Tommy Tremble, a pretty good blocker as well. And then there's Hunter Long from Boston College. Those are my top 5 tight ends in this year's NFL draft. Maybe they pursue one of them. Maybe they don't. Jordan could be a decent fit in that up-tempo offense. Freiermuth would be my next best guy. If you can get him in round 2, I love that move a lot for the Arizona Cardinals.